Today I'm at my embroidery machine and we're going to look at 3 of the Graceful Ivy freebies. Obviously, there are different ways to combine designs. You can do it on your machine in your software, or you can, if you don't have large enough hoops, stitch out each design separately. But today I'm here at my Epic 2 and I'm going to stitch out 3 designs. Designs have been digitized in such a manner that they can work together. We're going to take, first of all, the 13th design, and if I've got everything set up nicely, I'm going to send it to my machine. And there you see it's arrived. The next design I'm going to send to my machine is design number 20. I'm opening these up in the Stitch Editor module within my software. If you're not aware of it, the Husqvarna machines are wireless enabled, so I can open the design in my Sewnet software and send the designs directly to my machine, which is what I'm doing. Now, I wasn't quite sure whether I could send more than one design at the same time, but I tested this out just before I started videoing, and I can. There you see the second design appearing on top. So that's design number 20. The last design we're going to send is today's freebie. There we are. We have a real mishmash there of ivy leaves at the moment, because these are designs that are created for the 100 by 100 hoop. That is the hoop that's showing here. I'm going to click on that, and these are 3 designs. When they're combined, we'll actually stitch out in a 300 by 200 hoop, but the Husqvarna machines don't have that. So as I scroll down here, all the different hoops that I've got, I'm actually going to select the 360 by 200, and that's open there. So we have this mishmash of designs, and we're going to pull them apart and line them up. Well, that's the idea anyway. So I'm going to take, now what you have to do is just click on one, select it, and I'm taking that one up to the top. Now I'm using the grid to roughly put them in the right place. This is the next one. I'm going to take that one over to the side, and this is, whoops, this is number 13, the first one, and that's going to go there. As you see, you've got to make sure that you select something, otherwise you'll move the whole screen. Now I'm just going to check the order. That one's at the bottom. This is number 13, which is selected. This is number 20. I have actually got them all in the wrong place. Number 13 has to go up to the top. And then number 20, let's tap it and select it, has to go here. I'm not going to fine tune this at the moment, I'll do that in a minute. And then number 24, which is today's, goes here. I hope you could see that rough sequence and how they are when they put together. I've brought the camera over so you can just see a little bit more detail. Now, what I'm going to do is use a stylus, and I also use my fingers. I use a combination of the two. What I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll in like this, outside of the, well, that'll do. And I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to move it. I'm going to nudge it across. What I'm aiming to do is to get a nice flow of this satin stem that comes down here. And if I go outside of this area, I can scroll in even further. And here you can see I'm going to use my purple fang because it doesn't take up so much space. You can see the overlap here of the two. So if we take this, notice I'm going to touch the, no, it doesn't work with that. I'm going to move that over slightly, and then I'm going to move it down slightly and keep playing with it until I'm happy. Now, I suggest that you don't butt them together. A little bit of overlap is helpful. And if I want to come out of this, you can see here that I'm zoomed in at 386. Rather than put my finger on here and mess things up, if I take this down, I can zoom out. If you're not familiar with the Husqvarna Epic 2, some of these features are so responsive. So I'm going to click out here, and then we're going to look at this bit here. So once again, we'll scroll in. Oh, that's not too bad. And we're not going to move this one because this one is positioned nicely with this point up here. Now we're going to use the arrows, and these arrows are just like the arrows that are on your keyboard where you can nudge things up and down and to each side. First of all, I'm going to move it over. Theoretically, you would do exactly what I'm doing on this screen, on the screen of your embroidery software. It's just knowing which icons to use to make the selection and to make the movements that are required. I'm going to move that up, and then we're going to move it over. And this fine tuning is excellent. And if I want to go in even further, I can. Look at that. Now, there's a little kink there. If you watched my video yesterday when I was dealing with one of the stems of the ivy, you will know how fussy I am about getting the natural flow. We want to position these in such a way that it doesn't look as if there's a join there. You can't hurry positioning processes, be they on your fabric, in your software, or here on your screen. I'm quite happy at that. I'm looking at the flow of the stem coming down here, and it doesn't look too obvious that there's a join there. So I'm going to touch here, which will deselect that, hopefully, and no, it's not, it just deselected the other one. I'm going to come in at 100. There we have our design. So that is Graceful Ivy 13 at the top. Number 20 has been placed below it. And then today's freebie, which is number 24, has been put underneath. And that makes what I hope you think is a lovely panel of embroidery. So, if we press go, let's see what happens. The embroidery arm has come across in readiness for me to put the hoop on, which I have prepared already. But as we can see here, we've got loads of colour changes, and we don't want all these. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this one. And it's, as you notice, it's put 1276, which is my wrong colour. It stuck it there. And then we have the dark green. Then we have the ivy leaf detail, which can be done in metallic thread. Then we have the outlines, which is done in a very pale green. And then we have the three, it's not gold, it's tan. And I'm stitching this out in my 360 by 200 hoop. This morning, although it isn't Monday, I've cleaned everything on my Epic 2. I've cleaned out the bobbin area and the cutting area and given everything a little bit of a clean up, and I've also put in a new needle. And the needles, several people have asked me recently which needles I use for my embroidery. This is what I use. They're Schmetz needles, and they're 80s, and these are the top stitching needles. That's what I use. They have a lovely big hole, and they may not suit your machine. The best way to find out what needle to use for your machine is to ask your dealer. This is what my dealer has recommended to me, and I stick with these, and I'm happy with the results that I get. So let's go and get the hoop and put it on and start stitching out this combination. It's always a good idea when you're playing around with designs. I found this narrow piece of silk dupion, and I want to check that I've got enough fabric here. I'm sure I have, because this is a 200 wide hoop, and these designs from the ivy are actually only 100 wide. I just wanted to show you down here, it moves to the four corners. And it's also good. I'm just going to click this one here, but you watch this going across and you can see whether it's nicely lined up with the grain of the fabric. Well, that doesn't look too bad, so I'm happy with that. What I'm going to do, take it up to the top. I've hooped. If you're not familiar with my process, I have one layer of quality stitch and tear, which I've hooped. I have this on a roll, and although it just about fits this hoop, I turn the hoop round, and so I cut the height of the fabric of the stabilizer is actually, I cut it on the width so that I have a really wide bit, trim it off, and the trimmed bit goes in here. Sometimes you don't waste so much stabilizer when you turn your hoop round on the roll. That's hard to explain, but hopefully you get the gist of what I'm saying. So we have this layer of stitch and tear stabilizer, which I was telling you about. Then on top of that, within the hoop, we have a piece of stabilizer, and that's been secured in place with temporary adhesive spray. And then we have our silk dupion, which has been pressed, and that is attached with the temporary adhesive spray. But before we start embroidering, it all needs to be secured. So we're going to do a fixing stitch, which is a box. Now this machine actually does a box of fixing stitches, which is very useful. Not all machines do that. When you are combining designs and you haven't got the box that I supply with my outline alignment stitches, it's a little bit more complicated. I loaded designs which hadn't got outline alignment stitches. You could theoretically put the boxes in as well and click and stitch out the 3 boxes. They would secure it all in the right places. Here's our box. I've moved the camera over so that you can see it. And we're now going to stitch out the 3 sets of ivy leaves. What I decided to do was just to stitch everything out, and then apart from the last colourways, which is all the stems and the vines of the leaves. So I've done that, and I'll take you to the machine so you can have a look at it stitching out this last colour. See how well it all blends. So here are the leaves all nicely stitched out with their outlines and veins. And I'm going to put on the thread that we need for this. So here is the completed design. And this was the sort of look that I was very much working towards when I created the elements of this collection. I think we have a join here. It's very hard to see, and a join here, but they are nicely matched up. There we are. I hope you like that one, and that you have a little play combining these designs. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate everybody watching these videos and also commenting. The comments give me an inkling into what you enjoy and how helpful these videos are for you. If you've not subscribed to this channel, I'd be very grateful if you could do that. Your way of saying thank you for these free designs. If you want to know how to get hold of these freebies, then you need to click the link to the group forum in the description below this video, and that will explain how to become a member so that you can download all these designs. But please be aware that the group forum will be closing on the 9th of October, so that's the last day of joining, and after that these freebies won't be available. But the whole collection of Graceful Ivy will be released later this year, and it will include all these designs. Until next time, happy embroidering.